Hi, I'm Jody Hardesty with Empowered Heart Connections. Many couples have a difficult time recognizing when they have come to a place where they've become emotionally disconnected. So I'm going to talk about, first of all, what emotional connection looks like, what emotional disconnection looks like, and give you some tools and ideas on how to work on this if it happens in your relationship. Most couples have a period of time in their lives when they do go through an emotional disconnect. So you're not alone if you have experienced this in your relationship. But the ideal is that we want to have a feeling of safety and security in a relationship. And that is kind of the essence of what emotional connection looks like. So it's not that we have to be the center of our partner's universe and be the only emotional connection that they have, but they need to be able to feel safe. They need to be able to feel heard. They need to be able to feel like they can come to you whenever they need you or when they need support. They need to be able to come to you whenever they need a break, when they need distance. And creating that sense of emotional safety or emotional connection happens over time, and it takes a lot of work to be able to kind of navigate those pitfalls of conflict and really develop a sense of security and safety through communicating and spending time together, being able to, again, validate, understand, and hear each other's perspective. Though over time, especially whenever we're busy and life gets in the way, we can kind of have a little bit of a disconnect with that emotional connection, especially with those of us who are on cell phones, which I think is probably the majority of us by now. When we're on our cell phones or on the computer with social media, and we can tend to kind of be ships in the night whenever we are on electronic devices at home with our partners consistently. So sometimes this looks like, maybe you're eating at the dinner table, but both of you have your phones out and neither one of you is making any eye contact or looking at each other. The body language isn't there, showing you that your partner's there and ready to receive your information, your input, and your insight. And you can kind of feel the temperature cool a bit, right? Is that when you're feeling emotionally connected, you're really able to kind of have banter and be relatable to each other and have fluid conversations. But when that disconnect happens, particularly again, whenever there is that electronic device between you, it's almost like there's a wall between the two of you. And it's usually a cell phone of some sort or a computer of some sort that's keeping that space between the two of you. And so you can kind of be really more focused on what's happening on the internet, on the phone, and more lonely feeling than you would whenever you are having a good emotional connection. So that disconnect can be short term, it can be long term, but usually when it becomes pretty consistent, that people are feeling more alone and like they're maybe not as safe in the relationship as they once were, then it can become really problematic. And it's important to make sure that you're addressing this when this happens with your partner, because along with everything else, communicating and acknowledging what's happening, being direct and clear about what's happening, can help to mitigate conflict and decrease maybe some conflict that would happen if it was not addressed. So it's helpful to be aware that when you do address some of this stuff, your partner might become a little defensive or avoidant, because most of us don't really want to feel like we are doing anything wrong, because most of us are nice people. We're not trying to be avoidant. We're not trying to ignore our partners, but we all get a little lost sometimes in social media and in our cell phones and in whatever else is distracting us in our lives, right? We all have those moments where we maybe need a little reminder that, hey, our partners are feeling alone. And this can sometimes be triggered by just the body language alone that your partner's having, especially if you are, like I said, if you're at the dinner table together and you're trying to have a lunch or dinner and your partner's got their phone in front of their face or they're looking down at the table on their phone, and you're not only seeing them show that they're not interested in the conversation with you, right? That there's a physical kind of difference there. There's a disconnect physically, and it's important to make sure that we have eye contact and that we're able to have maybe even some physical touch to reconnect whenever we're feeling that emotional disconnect. So making sure that first of all you address the issue, and again, like we've talked about before, those I statements can be really helpful when addressing that. But it's particularly asking for some help from your partner, because it's much easier, again, to hear things when your partner says, hey, I kind of need some help. I'm feeling a little alone here, rather than you're always on your phone and I think you're a jerk, right? Nobody wants to hear that. That's pretty hard not to be defensive whenever you're approached like that. So recognizing that you can approach things in a more neutral way. Again, I'm feeling alone, I'm feeling hurt, I'm needing some support, is going to be a better way to approach your partner, to allow them to kind of come together with you rather than just attacking or blaming. So we want to make sure that those kind of disconnection tools like attacking, arguing, high conflict, blaming, they stay out of the conversation whenever you're trying to maintain or reconnect with your partner. That again, you want to reach out in a way that they can hear you in a loving and kind way, that's an invitation rather than a direction. Like nobody wants to be told what to do, but we are much more receptive whenever our partners are struggling if they ask for some help. So some strategies to help with avoiding disconnect are to make sure that you are planning time to spend quality time together just in advance. So if you are finding that you guys are tending to get more stuck on your phones, or maybe you're just disconnected because of work and other distractions, that planning a time, even if you plan a time every single day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, just to sit without phones, without any other distractions, and to really look at each other in the face, maybe hold hands, and have some time to just talk about your feelings, talk about the day, talk about what's going on with you. And again, recognizing that, different people have different bandwidth for emotional content. So you want to make sure it's not always a stressful emotional conversation when you're having that time together. You want to make it enjoyable for both of you. So it's okay to bring up maybe some hurt feelings at times whenever you're doing this, but also making sure that when you are connecting with the time that you're planning on connecting, that you create some movement in a positive way too, that you talk about maybe some successes that you're having, or talk about maybe some attributes that you and your partner share, or something that you guys have been doing well together, so that the time together that you're planning is rewarding, right? We want to make sure that we're not getting more dopamine from our cell phone than we are from our partner. That having that connection time being a positive experience. And sometimes if you don't have anything to talk about, that's okay too. Sometimes just sitting together, even if you're reading a book or doing something, but you're deliberately together, you're holding hands, you're making contact, and can check in with each other. That you have those times together where you're not distracted by a cell phone or something else, but that you are really just sitting together, sharing a moment together, having some physical contact. Like I said, even if you don't have anything to talk about, just to give each other some accolades. Like I said, if you need to read a book or whatever it is, to do that together. Hey, let's do some book time together. I'm gonna sit next to you on the couch. We'll hold hands while we're reading, or we'll just sit next to each other and kind of snuggle while we spend some time reading, or if you can, obviously connecting verbally is ideal. But I know some days it's just we don't have it in us. So finding the time to have some physical contact, even if you are just gonna lay together and hold each other for a few minutes, that oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is really huge to help people feel safe and secure in relationships and feel connected. So the other thing is to find a time that you are doing something that is bringing you joy. So if you're spending that time together, when you're just having that quality time together, again, every single day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, and if you can make it longer, that's always better. But that you have every single day that you're having some time that you're coming together. And then bringing joy into your life in whatever way you can. If you guys have a TV show you like to watch together that's funny, or if you like to tell jokes to each other, or if you do something that you find enjoyable that brings you happiness, like going to the shelter and going and hanging out with the animals, or playing with your dog, or going outside and getting some fresh air, doing those things that you enjoy to do together, to make sure that you're finding that again, that reward in the relationship, that being with a partner can be very rewarding, especially if you're doing things that you both can enjoy together. But ultimately, again, recognizing when those kind of triggers are happening, when you're starting to feel, hey, I'm sensing a little disconnect here, and what are those cues that you're looking for? Is your partner not looking at you as much anymore? Are you not making that eye contact? Are the phones out too much? Are we on the computer too much? Are we not able to leave work at work? And just being aware of what those signs are, so again, you can really address these things before they become too big and a little more overwhelming than they need to be. And making sure, again, that you're having those time together, spending quality time together, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. If you can have date nights as regularly as you can, that's ideal. I know it's challenging whenever we have kids and that sort of thing, but making sure that you're making each other a priority. It's like, how do we spend that 10 minutes a day together and maybe have a date night, enjoy those positive things together, and have some quality time together so we can make sure that we maintain that connection as often as we can. And again, it's normal to get distant and get disconnected from time to time, but it's the important part is that you're able to come back together and repair and reconnect. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching.